Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome on board. So we're back again in this cockpit, and as you can see, it's cold and dark and we need to wake her up. How do we do that? Using the electrical power procedure by the book. Now, there are two types of power available, AC and DC, that is alternating current and direct current. Direct current is basically an electrical current that is unidirectional and are the ones that are found in the batteries. Alternating current are those current that reverses direction time to time, changing its magnitude. Well, we don't need to go in detail with that, but AC is basically the electricity that's running your home right now. And this situation will be starting off with a battery switch that is direct current. Just be advised, 787 in the Microsoft Flight Simulator is basically a work in progress. A lot of things are missing. So we'll try to keep things close to the checklist and see how it goes. Now, mind it, 787 has one of the most powerful batteries in use today, but we still need alternating current, and there are three ways to get that. One is the external power source, where the ground crew will plug the cable to the airplane, just like we plug the charger to the phone. Then there's APU, the auxiliary power unit, which once powered, gives out electricity and bleed air for air conditioning. And the last but not the least is basically the engine-driven generators that are available only once the engines are running. So let's get the checklist on. Electrical power procedure. Battery switch on. C1 and C2 elect pump selectors off. Now, those are basically electrical hydraulic pumps, and the switches don't work. It's always in the on position, but checklist says you have to put it off. Demand pump selectors off. Again, it doesn't work. Basically, you're trying to get the load off battery. So after demand pump selectors off, wiper selectors off, landing gear lever down, alternate flap selector off, electrical power establish. Now there are two ways of doing it. If external power is desired, external power away lights illuminated, all three is illuminated here, we can push it on. The second option, if APU power is desired, APU generator switch is on. Now let's go for the APU power because not all airports will have ground power in all the gates. So let's start the APU. But before we start that, let's just take a look at the pages that are available in the cockpit. So you see the system page, and those are the status pages. Now basically you're supposed to have a page here that gives out status of hydraulic, your oxygen, your APU, as well as a few status messages. If there's any kind of malfunction or something that doesn't work, it all shows up over here, but which is not available in the Microsoft Flight Simulator right now. Status page is not here. This page is not here. We only have the fuel page available. Rest all pages, it says inop. So I would suggest there's a mod available in the net. I've put the link in the description, and most of the pages, they appear. So I'm going to restart the sim and get back to this part. Okay, so we're back again after installing the mod, and I'll just show you how things look. Let's go to the systems page here. And yeah, that is the status page. It shows hydraulics and APU, oxygen, liquid cooling, and status messages. If we go to electrical page, okay, this is the main AC buses that needs to be powered. It's orange right now, which means it's not powered. Hydraulic page is still not functional. Fuel is there. Air is not there. We got the door pages available. Gear page is there. No flight control, no AFS maintenance, no circuit breakers. So let's go to the status page. You can see the APU box over here, and RPM says 0.0. So let's go ahead and start up the APU. Start, hold for a second, leave it. And now if you see, the RPM is already 50-60%. Well, in real life it's not that fast, but still, we got something to look at right now. So at about 100%, the APU generator comes online and we can power up the airplane using the alternating current from the auxiliary power unit. So now APU generators left and right, both powering. You can check the electrical page. And if you see APU is, there's this green line, APU left and right gen, and it's powering up the AC buses. So let's get on with our procedures. We'll do an emergency equipment check. Protective breathing equipment in this box should be valid. We got the fire extinguisher there. It should be in the green band. And then life vest, 2 in each seat. 2 on this side. 2 on this side. Then we check emergency torches. And we've got the emergency exit over here. On the 787s, the windows don't open. Once we're done with the emergency equipment check, then we go about the cockpit door test. We can't do it in the sim because it's not active. Then we go and check all the documents. Now there are loads of documents that an airplane needs to have before it can fly. Any document is missing, it's a no-go. Once you're done with that, we go and sit in the airplane. We'll get the latest weather, that is the ATIS, Automated Terminal Information System, so that we know what runway is available or what kind of weather condition prevails in the airport. So, and then once we know the weather conditions, one of the pilot goes out for a walk around, the other pilot does the FMC setup, which we will start off with. Now, I've been facing a lot of issues programming the flight management's computers here. Like, let's just go about it. I'll show you how do we do that. But before starting the FMC, let's just log in to skywector.com. Now, it's got the world's all the airways available, and this latest as far as I know. So I've chosen the world high tab over here on the top right corner, so that all the high level en route airways are visible. So let's do a short flight for now. Let's do Mumbai to Ahmedabad. So let's just zoom into Mumbai. All right, so here we are. That's Mumbai over here, and that's Ahmedabad. So as you can see, there are two airways that's connecting. One is the Quebec 1 over here. Let me just zoom in. Okay, so from Mumbai, Quebec 1 takes you to Isris, Dosto, Apano, then Whiskey 13 to Ahmedabad. So Mumbai, Quebec 1, Isris, Dosto, Apano to Ahmedabad. So let's get on and start programming. Let's see if it works, because I've been having a lot of issues doing that. Anyways, so this is the ident page. This is the first page. Model 787-10. Okay, engines GE/NX 2B67 Bravo. That means the engines are rated at 67,000 pounds of thrust. The navigation data active August 13 to September 09. It's way out of date, but it's okay. It's a simulator. You can just still continue. So pause on it. That is position initialization. Let's start off with the reference airport. That's Mumbai. VABB is the ICAO code. Put it there. And here set IRS position. It's the best practice to use the GPS position, because that's more accurate. Although in real 787, you never have to do this. It's automatically taken in. Then we go to the route page, origin and destination over here. So origin is Mumbai, VABB. Destination, Ahmedabad, VAAH. Flight number, you can choose anything. Let me just choose AIC 181. After this, route 1 has 1/2. There are two pages. Next page, it's empty because we haven't put in any departure or the airways. So let's go to departure arrival page. VABB departure. Active runways, runway 27. And Anoli 2 Alpha is basically the SID that takes you to Isris. So now when I choose Anoli 2 Alpha, it doesn't give me any transition. So these are the minor glitches that the simulator has, because it's supposed to give me a transition. Now if I execute this thing, go to the next page, it'll give me this godforsaken USR waypoint. I don't know why it gives it, but anyways, if you go to the next page, that takes you to Sekwi Kakpo to Aurangabad. I don't want to go to Aurangabad, basically. So that's the issue that I face. And then we go to initref perf page, where you put in all the fuel, what kind of altitude you want to fly, thrust limit and everything. But there's a way of rectifying this. So let's just log into simbrief.com, and once logged in, just go ahead and register yourself, create an account if you haven't already. And once you've done that, you log in and hit the dispatch key. Dispatch, and you got create a new flight. Choose that. And then starting with the flight info over here. Let's start with AIC Air India, flight number 181. Departure VABB Mumbai to arrivals VAAH Ahmedabad. Alternate, it has chosen Vadodara. That's all auto. Date, time, just leave it. Aircraft type, let's go ahead and choose 787. Advanced aircraft operations, you can leave the whole thing, let it be on auto. Optional entries, again, optional entries, you can change the runways if you want. Like for example, departure runway, let it be 27. Arrival runway in Ahmedabad, let us choose 23, because that runway has ILS in it. And then if you see the route, it says Anoli 1 Alpha, Isris, Alpha 347, Apano 1 Alpha. Now this is the departure and this is the arrival. And if you remember in the sim, it was showing Anoli 2 Alpha, but it's okay. So let's just look at the map view, how it looks. So there we are in Mumbai, Mike Bravo 364 to Anoli. That takes you to Mike Bravo 361, then to Isris. Further north to Apano. Alpha Hotel 410 to the whole arrivals. So this looks good. You can go scroll up, choose generate OFP. Once you've done that, it gives you a live OFP. OFP is basically operational flight man. It's something that every flight crew gets in hand for every flight. So if you look at this, so you can take a printout of it. Now it gives you all the details of your flight. There's a flight number, date, departure, destination, type of airplane, and then what's the alternate. And if you check, it's a planned fuel. All this fuel is in kilograms, and for some reason I don't see in the simulator the FMC showing weights in kilograms. It shows in pounds. So if you look at here, it says alternate Vadodara VABO, flight level, steps, Mumbai to Ahmedabad at flight level 350. Planned fuel, it says trip fuel, that is directly from wheels up to wheels down, we need 4,330 kilograms of fuel. Time will be 46 minutes. Contingency fuel, 15 minutes has been added. Alternate fuel to Vadodara is 1894. Final reserve is 2.170. And then minimum takeoff fuel is this. Extra fuel, if the pilot thinks is required for some reason, you can add in over here later on. Takeoff fuel is this. Taxi fuel, they've given 499, which is generally basically what we use in real life as well. 500 kgs for taxi. And that's about it. And then if you look over here, we got weights in actual and what is estimated. You can jot it down once you get the final trim sheet in hand. Terrain clearance has been given, and this is the flight log. Anoli 1 Alpha, Mike Bravo 364, that was the first waypoint. Then to Anoli Isris, then we reach top of climb, top of descent. Everything is beautifully given as a proper format, is what we get in real life as well. So once you've done that, once this looks good, you can go down and you can choose. Now basically this flight plan can be downloaded for different kind of formats. So let's just choose Flight Simulator 2020, which is over here, if you see. So download this. So once you've downloaded, you go back to the main menu, hit world map. And now here on the lower side, you see load and save. You press that and then we can load a flight plan. So I can choose the flight plan that was saved. Choose here, click open, wait a couple of seconds. And there it's been loaded. Now if you zoom in and see, you've got most of the waypoints there. And also once you've loaded the flight plan, don't forget to choose the starting position, because by default the simulator will put you on the runway. We don't want that. So let's choose gate 26 over here and then hit the fly now button. So now we're back here in the cockpit again, and I've already done the electrical power procedure. Let's just proceed to the FMC, starting with the ident page. Model identification is done, navigation database is checked. Let's go to pause init, reference airport Mumbai, and GPS location as the iris position. And now you can see Mumbai and Ahmedabad has already been set. Let's change the flight number. There we are. And if you can see, it says route 1 1/3. There are 3 pages already. So let's check. Next page, it says direct microground 364, Anoli, microground 361 to ISRIS. So as you can see, the route has already been set all the way to ISRIS. If you can check the Lex page, we can cross-check that. After ISRIS, it's Apano, and then we have the whole arrival set as well, all the way till Alpha Hotel 387, and then as a final to runway 23. So this is done. Let's proceed to the perf page. Now, as I said, all the weights in the FMC is in pounds, and I'm unable to change it to kilograms. If you happen to know how we can turn it to kilograms, please let me know. And now let's go and check simbrief.com once again. So here, let's say it's final reserves 0.0. Let's just check. According to the flight plan, it says final reserves 2.170. Let's take final reserves as 2.2. So here, kilograms to pounds, 4850. 4.9 in the reserves. Zero fuel weight, gross weight, cruise altitude 350 is already set. Thrust limit, let's choose climb 2. Flaps, although here basically what kind of flaps do we need for the departure, everything is been checked here in the EFB. Basically EFB does all the takeoff performance calculation, and we send the data from EFB to FMC. But in this case, the EFB is not working, so let's just put in things ourselves. So I'm going to put flaps as 10 for departure. And then if you click on V1, it'll give you V1, VR, and V2 automatically. So V1 is basically the speed below which we can practically reject the takeoff. Above V1, we cannot. No matter what happens, we need to depart. VR is the speed at which basically VR is rotated. That's the time where we pull our stick back for departure so that we can lift our nose up. And V2 is basically a single engine climb speed. So in case we have any kind of engine failure during our departure, this speed will ensure that you can still climb with one engine operative. So the FMC pre-flight is done. So we've done with preliminary pre-flight procedure, which was checking the safety equipments and documentations. FMC pre-flight is just done right now, and now let's start off with the pre-flight procedures. How do we do that? We start with the overhead panel. We go left to right, top to bottom. So starting with, as I mentioned before, most of these switches, they don't work. So electrical panel is checked, window heat should be on, hydraulic panel basically should be off, but it's all on auto. Passenger signs, once the fueling is done, we can put it on. Lighting panels checked. Fuel panel, you can leave it. Anti-air switch, wing and engine anti-airs, all 3 on auto. Navigation lights is on. Air conditioning panel, most of the switches don't work. In fact, none of them work, I'm sorry. Wiper switch is all off. Once you're done with the overhead panel, the left pilot will start with his oxygen panel on the left, and the right one will start from his oxygen panel. So oxygen panel checked, EFB is set. Then you move about over here. Okay, then towards the first control panel, minimums, it's set on radio. We'll choose Barrow. Although the minimums over here, if you see Barrow 200, it's mentioned here, and for some reason when we try to change it, it doesn't work. Barrow set, that is the altimeter setting, it shouldn't be in inches, it should be in hectopascals. Most of the country uses hectopascals, but it's only US, if I'm not wrong, that uses in inches. Then and what we do is we check here, go to menu, choose VR left and VR right, and you can see the indications appear in the lower part of the ND. Continuing ahead, FD switch is on. Now this whole panel is called mode control panel. Let's choose the indicated airspeed. Let's set it to V2, which is 1601. Let's arm the LNAV and VNAV, and we can check it over here. LNAV and VNAV in white, which means it is armed. Runway heading was 270. Let's set that. Altitude, we can choose one of the restrictions if there is any in the departure, but in the simulator it's okay, we can choose directly the cruising altitude, which is 350. Once you've done that, you come down, auto brake switches to RTO, that is rejected takeoff, and the auto brake kicks in automatically. Now what this does is basically if your thrust levers are set to max takeoff, and for some reason if you get the thrust levers back to idle to reject your takeoff, and if your airspeed is above 85 knots and if the airplane is on ground, auto brake will start braking. But mind it, below 85 knots they don't kick in, you'll still have to rely on manual brakings. So auto brake is set to RTO, that is on rejected takeoff. Coming down VHF, let's choose left over here, right over here. Generally on the third one we choose the cabin page so that we can do a passenger announcement, call the cabin crew from the front galley, but it's enough, so let's just put in transponder. Code is set to 7000. By default let's put 2000, which means that no transponder code has been assigned. The transponder mode selector doesn't work over here, it's generally in standby. Anyways, that's just about it. Pre-flight procedure has been done on my side, and let's do the pre-flight checklist now. Oxygen tested 100%. Flight instruments, heading altimeter. Heading, let's start with here, it's 340 on the ND, 340 on the ISFD, and 350 here on the magnetic compass. Altimeter is set to 1013, reading 40 feet. Elevation of Mumbai is 40 feet as well. So this sounds just about right. Parking brake is set. If you don't see the indication over here, disengage parking brake, set it back again, and you see parking brake set here on the ND. Fuel control switches both cut off, and pre-flight checklist is completed. So that's just about it for this video. In the next one we'll do a pushback engine start and taxi to the holding point. Thank you for watching. Ciao.